When we think of the solar system, most of us can recognize the 8 major planets. From the desolate Mercury all the way out to ice giant Neptune. Then there is Pluto, possibly the most loved world of them all. And beyond that, some of us will remember the icy snowman-shaped object named Eris that NASA's New Horizons spacecraft visited back in 2019. But our solar system doesn't end there. Beyond, many more Pluto-sized worlds exist, such as the dwarf planets, Eris, Makemake or Haumea for example. However, within this region known as the Kuiper Belt and then the scattered disk just beyond, other large icy magnificent worlds have been discovered. Worlds that are most likely dwarf planets, but that are yet to be officially classified. These are the planets of our solar system that you may have never heard of before. If you enjoy my videos, then remember to subscribe and tap the notification bell to never miss an upload. While the International Astronomical Union, which we're responsible for demoting Pluto, currently only officially recognize 5 dwarf planets in our solar system, in reality, the cold regions beyond Neptune are likely populated by many of these bizarre worlds. According to the IAU, to be classed as a dwarf planet, an object must orbit the Sun, is not a moon, has enough mass for gravity to assume a near-round shape, but has not cleared its neighborhood of other objects in its orbit. The latter being one of the Pluto was demoted and the dwarf planet classification was created. The regions beyond Neptune, called the Kuiper Belt and the scattered disk, are full of icy bodies and remnants from the solar system's formation billions of years ago. And so, based on the IAU's criteria for a dwarf planet, the outer solar system is teeming with these fascinating worlds. While not officially classified yet, beyond Neptune many potential dwarf planets that have already been discovered, each with their own unique characteristics. Gong Gong, the Chinese water god, red all over. This is Gong Gong, a world discovered in 2007. And named after a Chinese water god who was blamed for knocking the Earth's axis off center and causing great floods. With an estimated diameter of about 1,230 kilometers, 764 miles. Gong Gong is one of the largest known trans-Neptunian objects discovered so far. At around half the size of Pluto, this mysterious world orbits the Sun once every 554 Earth years. In fact, most of the time Gong Gong is many billions of kilometers away in a highly elliptical orbit. At its farthest point, it is more than 100 times farther from the Sun than Earth. One of the most striking features of Gong Gong is its reddish surface, which is likely due to the presence of tholins, which are complex organic molecules that form when simpler compounds, such as methane, are bombarded by cosmic rays and ultraviolet light. Tholins are known to give a reddish or brownish hue to the surfaces of many distant icy bodies in the solar system, such as Eris, the Kuiper Belt object that New Horizons visited in 2019, or even those beautiful distinctive reddy-brown areas on Pluto for example. It was discovered in 2010 that Gong Gong also has a companion, a dwarf moon named Xiangliu, as these Hubble Space Telescope images reveal. Named after a 9-headed snake monster from Chinese mythology, the moon's size is estimated to be only about 100 kilometers in diameter, and its orbit around Gong Gong also suggests that it may be the result of an ancient collision, similar to how our own moon formed perhaps. Interestingly, it has been calculated that by using a gravity assist from Jupiter in the early 2030s, with a spacecraft similar to NASA's New Horizons that visited Pluto, it would take around 25 years to reach Gong Gong, possibly giving us some incredible images of one of the farthest known objects in the solar system within the next 35 years or so. Quaoar, the ancient creator, half red. This is Quaoar, a world discovered in 2002 and named after the creation deity of the Native American Tongva tribe. With a diameter of approximately 1,090 kilometers, 677 miles, it is, like Gong Gong, one of the larger potential dwarf planets, at nearly half the diameter of Pluto. But unlike Gong Gong, Quaoar doesn't have a highly elliptical orbit. Instead, it has a nearly circular orbit that takes around 289 years to complete one rotation around the Sun. It is also a lot closer than Gong Gong, with an average distance of 6.5 billion kilometers, 4 billion miles, from the Sun, similar to Pluto's distance in fact. But it is still extremely far away, taking sunlight more than 5 hours to reach this mysterious world. Compared to Earth, where sunlight only takes about 8 minutes to reach us. In July 2016, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft actually captured a sequence of 4 images of Quaoar from a distance of about 2 billion kilometers, 1.3 billion miles, providing us with a different perspective and the closest images ever taken of this potential dwarf planet. But even at this range, Quaoar can still only be seen as a moving white dot in front of a background of bright stars and galaxies. A reminder of how difficult it is to study these elusive worlds. Like many other Kuiper belt objects, Quaoar has a relatively large moon, named Waywat after the son of the Tongva creator god, but one feature that surprised astronomers about Quaoar was that it has a ring of icy debris orbiting it, and not just one, but at least 2. This discovery was unexpected, as rings were previously thought to be stable only within a certain distance from the host body, known as the Roche limit. Quaoar's ring, however, lies outside this limit, challenging existing theories about ring stability and formation. Another fascinating feature of Quaoar is its unusual, slightly oblong or egg-like shape, rather than being mostly spherical. This shape could result from a rapid rotation, which might cause it to stretch slightly at the equator. Alternatively, it could be due to variations in its internal structure, or the presence of large surface features perhaps. Again, like Gong Gong, a flyby mission of Quaoar could happen by using a Jupiter gravity assist. A spacecraft with a gravity boost would only take 13.6 years to arrive there, and launch dates for such a mission have been proposed as early as December 2026. So we may get to see close-ups of this mysterious object sooner than we think. Orcus, the anti-Pluto, white with a bit of red. This is Orcus, a world discovered in 2004, and named after one of the Roman gods of the underworld, which is fitting as it is also often referred to as the anti-Plutos due to its orbit being a mirror image of Pluto's but on the opposite side of the Sun. It takes around 245 years to complete one orbit, to Pluto's 248 years, and it even has a relatively large moon, a companion named Vanth. As you can see in this incredible real footage captured by the Hubble Space Telescope, the dwarf moon Vanth is, like Pluto's moon, Care and relatively large compared to its parent. At 475 kilometers, 295 miles in diameter. But although Orcus shares many similarities with Pluto, it is nowhere near as large, estimated to be around 910 kilometers, 570 miles, in diameter, making Orcus less than half the size of Pluto, but not too much smaller than Quaoar. Nonetheless, this mysterious world still potentially meets the IAU's dwarf planet criteria. Interestedly, its surface color is predominantly neutral to slightly red, rather than a dark red, indicating the presence of a mix of water, ice, and organic compounds. The relatively neutral coloration suggests that it has a younger or less weathered surface compared to the other potential dwarf planets Gong Gong and Quaoar, which may be the result of cryovolcanism. At some point in the past, this mysterious world could have been geologically active, with cryovolcanoes spewing out ice magma upon its frozen landscape. Cryovolcanism, driven by internal heating from radioactive decay or tidal interactions with Vanth perhaps, could create smooth plains or icy flows. These features would be similar to those observed on other icy bodies, like Neptune's moon Titan, for example, indicating a dynamic and evolving surface. With its significant size, unique characteristics, and the presence of its relatively large moon Vanth, Orcus, like many others, is a prime candidate for dwarf planet status. These are just 3 of the larger unconfirmed dwarf planets in our solar system that you may not have heard of. But there are many others, such as Sedna, that you probably have heard of but may be surprised to hear has still not been classified as a dwarf planet despite many recommendations by astronomers. And there are even many smaller worlds that have been discovered, such as Salacia, Vada or Ixion for example, that require more studying. But that are like Sedna, likely dwarf planets according to the IAU's criteria. As astronomers continue to explore and study these enigmatic objects, we move closer to understanding the vast and varied collection of fascinating bodies that exist at the edge of the solar system. Just think of how surprised we all were when for the first time we saw Pluto up close, and then remember that each one of these unclassified dwarf planets could offer the same feelings of wonder. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then remember to subscribe and tap the like button for much more to come. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.